said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy... Flyover state of fear.
Yeah, I'm recording. Here. Let's see. You doing your favorite dead baby jokes? You doing your favorite racist jokes?
Oh, just kidding, guys. All right. Anyway, thanks.
Ironic racism, baby.
Yeah. All right. 1, 2. Welcome back to Flyover State of Fear. It's me and Brian. How are you, Brian?
Hey, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very happy to I mean, it kind of sound a little. I kind of sound a little nasally today, but I'm happy to not be sick and finally getting this recording off the ground.
Yeah. I know we had to postpone. You were
but
ill.
it wasn't.
It made me
Just,
sad.
it was like
you gotta
illness.
do what you gotta do. You gotta save those golden pipes. You can't be coming on here.
It was illness, and then it was a bizarre. Like my internet was like lines were cut for almost 40 hours or some shit.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it came back like an hour before we were supposed to record.
Internet should be a public utility now, so
it's
not, but it should be.
That's a top of all of our utility lines and things. We're not supposed to withstand more than they're going on 100+ years.
Yeah, I keep getting a thing from a service that wants me to insure the like gas and water lines from the house to the road. They're like they only cover to the ones in the road. They don't always cover the ones from your house to the road. You should go, but there's always it seems shady. It's always outside companies. It's never like the actual.
Think that I need that to be in my homeowner's insurance.
Yeah.
That I'm buying, not the third party. It's like,
I don't want to have to pay a third party. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that. No, we house talk. That's why.
Welcome to House Talk. We're millennials who could afford to buy a house. The rarest bird.
We had trees in front of our house. We have 2 big trees, and we made sure to source scope them before we bought, just so see if there was no roots growing through it. Because my in-laws, who live 3 blocks away, when we were living there, had to refix a pipe because it burst from tree growth. So shit happens. But yeah, how have you been? What have you been watching?
Ooh, I have been watching. So I'm sure some horror movies here there. But what I want to talk about that I've been watching, I'm almost to the very end. I got one more episode left. Is the new Goosebumps show on Hulu or Disney Plus or wherever
what do you
watch
think?
that. I've been enjoying it.
I binged it all one day.
I don't first of all, I should put it I have a certain level of expectation when I'm going into a Goosebumps project.
Sure.
And I don't mean that in a way that it's high. I mean that in a way that it's medium.
No,
I don't think there's ever been a Goosebumps project that is a truly great piece of art. There's just been a lot of really fun, good starter horror for kids.
It should be fun starter horror for kids.
Exactly, yeah.
I know I watched the new one. I thought it was a big improvement on the first season of that.
See, I didn't watch the first season at all, so
the first season, but it was also fun. I would not.
It's like an anthology too, right? The first season's totally unrelated.
Yeah, so they did not exactly, but they did what when Are You Afraid of the Dark came back on Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. Same thing, where they just took the brand and they said, "Here's a new anthology." So each season when they came back with Are You Afraid of the Dark is the first one's 4 episodes, and the second one is 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it had 3 seasons, and they were all different, but they kept the nucleus of Are You Afraid of the Dark, where it's kids doing a campfire story, but the show was about.
But it's one season, a season long arc. I get it.
The show was about the kids. The first season of that was almost like the first Goosebumps movie. The books come the story.
Oh, okay, sure.
the Goosebumps did the same thing with the seasons, but a little different. Where like, yeah, it's just like here's an arc. I think what the first series did, or first limited series did, if I remember correctly, it was one big arc, right, of that, and it was the same thing, like a kind of a curse in a town, and it took inspo from like from like the episode, like from the books. So like
Well, yeah, I
this,
would say obviously this one has that element too,
yeah,
where
this one
like
has like the Invisible Kid, the Monster Blood,
the something in the basement,
Something
haunted
in the Basement,
car. Like every episode name is like basically a classic
yeah,
Goosebumps
and
story.
they do a little bit, and this one's really fun. I think the funniest thing about this newest Goosebumps, and actually I think it's some of the best stuff that Ross, what's fucking David
David
Schwimmer.
Schwimmer.
I think it's
I
some of
love
the best
David
stuff
Schwimmer,
David
man.
Schwimmer's done. The only funny part about it is he's like they're trying to make him 20 years younger than he actually is.
Yeah.
So like
He's
the
supposed to be like a 13-year-old in 1994. I was like, motherfucker, Friends premiered in
yeah,
1994, and you were like 30.
yeah, and like his hair is just dyed a little too black, and like they
And it's a little
scream it,
too musty. He's like pulling a
yeah,
Jim from The Office.
and like like realistically, this man should be like I don't know 50 at the oldest.
He's probably I mean, David Schwimmer's probably in his early 50s. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess he is. So like, or maybe like mid 40s at his old like
yeah.
it's more of like his look. He's good, but the thing is, he's actually really good at it.
Oh, I actually legitimately like David Schwimmer a lot. I think he's funny. I think
Uh,
he's uh people
he's 58.
the Matthew Perry performance was more showy and like Chandler Speak was more noticeable, but David Schwimmer also very much has his own style of delivery that like only he does and really works for him, and he kind of doesn't stray from it, but he's also a master of it. Like he's good.
Raw, no, Ross was a very funny character, a really annoying character, but he has his like really like the physical comedy of the leather pants episode
Absolutely.
is a kind of no someone the little friends ran for a minute. Someone put it this once, and it was like a sitcom person. It was like someone from another sitcom or like an actor. They said no, with that show, even though it gets ragged on today a lot, virtually every member, it was so good for so long because they were so perfect at their archetype that
Oh
it
yeah,
blended. They
absolutely.
were all, as you just said, like a master at whatever craft of that is in that sitcom world, whether it translates to other shit or not. They were good at what they did there.
Yeah.
Um, No, the Goosebumps show is really fun. I kind of wanted to give it a rewatch actually because uh, when I was sick over the last month, I was one of the days where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna watch it. And I like really just burned through it. I also love
Yeah.
that the Mets clearly like sponsored some of it. Because they did like they went to the cast like went to City Field to like
Oh, did
promo
they?
it, and like the kid has all those Mets balloons in the hospital bed and like
Yeah.
all that, the bully, and then they play the "Oh my God" at the end of one episode, and I'm like, oh, they had a hand. Someone threw someone some money for
That
sure.
budget, hey, you know what? That budget's got to come from somewhere. Hulu ain't gonna pay the whole freight. They got to get some
Uh,
money get some money from the Mets.
no, I did like it. I was a fan. My one note of it, which I think since you're still watching it, was I actually think it would have benefit from being like 6 episodes or so and not a full 10 episode season.
I think it's 8. It's 8.
Oh, eight. So
Yeah,
I'm not.
so
I'm
I
not
could
gonna
see where
sweat
you could
Chris.
trim it. There
Just
was
trim it.
definitely some stuff. I was watching.
Let's
I was
let's
watching an
admit it.
episode. It's like there's something that like you kind of the girl. It's like a videotape, and she's looking around in the dark and using the video camera as a light. And I was just kind of like, something's gonna jump out, and you're like, okay, jump.
Hmm.
Okay, we're still all right, and the jump scare. And it was just like a little too long getting to it. I was like,
Yeah.
this is why it didn't need to be a show. If you have all this breathing room, this could have been you tighten this up. Well, you probably could have definitely cut out a couple. But
But
I do think it's a lot of
I
fun.
wonder if that
The kid actors in it are good and
I
stuff.
would that's true. Um I wonder if like an 11-year-old or let's say 12, 13, so if that long like they're not familiar with like the pacing of a long jump scare shot like that is, I wonder
Yeah,
if, like that worked on them.
yeah, maybe.
No, it's fun. Me and you all about our kids' starter horror. So
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
more of
R.L.
it,
Stein, we're forever in your debt. The world,
more of it.
the better place for having Goosebumps in it.
I do criminally think that today's modern, you know, even horror and stuff for spooky for kids is too afraid to actually have anything decent and treats everyone like an idiot. So it's nice when shit comes around where it's not just like, hey, it's safe, you're dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's nice. Um, the only thing I saw, and this actually lead us right into our Invisible Man. I did see the Wolf Man, the
I
movie.
also saw Wolfman.
I liked it a lot more than the internet is telling.
I've heard that it's got kind of like lukewarm reviews, but I honestly did not seek anything out about it.
No, I didn't seek anything out. I just saw horror people coming
Yeah.
back and being, yeah, and I was like, I wanted to reply to so many of them, like, aren't you the people who love like every shit that's out there, but
Well,
like,
and also, aren't you the people who didn't like the Benicio del Toro one, which
yeah,
was a more traditional retelling of like
yeah,
the classic 33 one? So what do you want?
yeah,
Or
I was like,
41? I think. Sorry, Wolfman came out in 41.
this is where I stand with the Lee Whannell. I know what you're talking about. Like Lee Whannell's The Wolfman is the newest one. I thought it was a hell of a thriller. The suspense worked on me in the sense of
Yeah.
like I was
I thought it was an interesting take. It was like
it was a
very
good take.
obviously very inspired by Cronenberg Fly, body
Mhm.
horror elements,
Yeah, like the design's not the design. A good criticism of the design's not great. His Wolfman could be better, but it's still fine. The
I mean, he is in the realm of that original Wolfman where he's still more like a man. He's not
Yeah,
like a wolf on two legs, which is kind of like what we've seen a lot more recently. I feel like that's kind of we've leaned. I'll tell you what, a lot of these people should have watched, and that I'll recommend here to the no one who's going to see this is the Marvel short Werewolf by Night. Well, not short; it was like an hour
oh,
long
you were talking
special
about that a
on
while
Disney
ago.
Plus, and that was a lot of fun. Now, most of the werewolf shit is saved till the very end because it's like a reveal, but it was still fun, and the design of the werewolf was very classic, like man in prosthetic
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
vibe to it.
it's yeah, like but no, maybe I'll probably never check it out. I say maybe I'll check it out one day,
Like I said, it's an
but yeah,
hour. It's fun. A good little when you're just looking for stuff to burn off around Halloween. Great for that. 'Cause
yeah.
it's got a lot of fun. It's like all about monster hunters. You got a lot of good character actors doing fun little performances and stuff. Like
That does sound fun. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's definitely worth an hour of your time for sure.
a lot of modern werewolf stuff. You kind of nailed it a little bit ago. Is just them turning into a full blown wolf like these
Yeah.
days, right? Yeah, no, I'm a fan. I liked this Wolfman.
We covered Wolf on the show. If people have watched, we covered the
That's a good one.
'94, the Jack Nicholson, which is another more like humanish, not a full on wolf on two legs, more kind of the human element of
Yeah,
it. But I like that they treated it like I like the infection angle of it. That's interesting.
I I'm really happy too when I saw it. I completely forgot about the trailer being like the first trailer that ever came out. I only remember because I saw it in the theaters. Is Was almost the full scene of the car accident and
Oh,
then
okay.
escaping. Like that's like the trailer to like hook you in.
Sure.
And I forgot all about that trailer until like halfway through the car scene at the crash
Oh,
itself.
nice.
So I was like surprised, like this is intense.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
my biggest takeaway from that movie, and why I think it's cool we're talking about them as men, and I was like, oh, Lee Whannell is a really good director.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we can, that's a great place to start because I wanted to just bring up I have Lee Whannell written here. Obviously, wrote and directed Invisible Man 2020. Um, but I wanted to real quick.
Upgrade.
You cannot talk Lee Whannell without recommending Upgrade.
Yeah,
Like you have to
upgrades.
jump in and real quick off the bat be like, if you've never seen Upgrade, go watch Upgrade. It's incredible.
It's there's so many points of upgrade, but it's also like the Venom movie that we should have got. Like that's what people said at the time, right? Like they're like, this
Yeah.
is like
It even
no.
has the guy that looks like Tom Hardy in it.
Yeah, I think that's why people said that at the time.
It's got Logan Marshall Green, who I really like.
I like,
He's
yeah.
in Prometheus.
No, that movie, the upgrade's fucking great.
Yeah, Upgrade's incredible. even though I think Invisible Man is very good, and we'll get into that. Upgrade's probably still my favorite Leigh Whannell project. That includes the original Saw.
But sorry, I'm just looking. But yeah, so Leigh Whannell, that's where I was going to go with. I was just making sure I was going to his thing before said. Yeah, his other like big accolade is he wrote the first Saw.
Yeah,
and he was one of the
he's Adam.
Yeah, he was the other guy.
He's not Cary Ellis.
He was not Cary Ellis. Who was self-admittedly being like, I don't know, they needed an actor. I'm not at that time. I'm not an actor, and I did my best.
I think he's okay in that.
It's
I think
fine.
he fits the level of that movie just fine.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, that movie has Cary Ellis, who's a great actor, but he's doing like maybe the worst American accent of all time in that movie. Like, he is not very believably American in that.
There's something. There's something that Cary Ellis says. There's one line reading in that movie that
There's one that always gets me where he goes.
It's probably the same one.
He's a Zepp, you bastard. Because it's like the guy's got he thinks the guy Zepp has his family hostage when, because the.
Yeah, no.
But he goes, Zepp, you bastard. And I always laugh at that one.
It's not that one. It's another one, though, where he's yelling. It's when he's yelling, right? It's toward the end when he's like, no, answer just take it, answer the phone. Or something.
He's very British.
Yes. So
very good actor. Not his best English, not his best American accent.
I'm in my psych groove, of late night watching.
Sure, your rewatch, yeah.
And I'm always it's a show. I just it's like The Simpsons. I throw it on whenever, and
yeah, absolutely.
Cary Ellis plays a great a high class art thief, and then he gets to utilize his accent. And I'm pretty sure there's a Saw joke in there too, because that's just the way Psych peppers in their jokes with guest stars of here's a reference to a movie that you were in.
Yeah,
I think it's
spoilers. There's a Saw reference in Wolfman.
There is. It's a great reference.
I was gonna say it's appropriate, but also a great reference.
It's also good because it's not even it's fun if you're like, I know what that is, because that's what I thought. I'm like, it's for me. That joke's for me.
This is for the horror nerds out here.
No. So Leigh Whannell, though, I mean, yeah, he wrote Saw. He wrote Dead Silence. He wrote Insidious. His first directorial debut, which I have never seen, but now I'm kind of curious, is Insidious Chapter 3. And I only say that because there might be
directed that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's his debut. I'm like, there might be some juice there.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got us. He's definitely got a good style.
But yeah, Upgrade. That's his first.
Yeah, I think the Wolfman kind of underperformed. I hope that won't hurt his chances of getting something off the ground next, though, because he's really good.
Yeah, I think he has enough name in horror, and I think a cool thing with the not cool thing. I think a thing with the Wolfman itself is I think it's underperforming with what it's supposed to, but at the same time, it's a Blumhouse movie.
Yeah,
and I'm not even using that as an insult. The Invisible Man is a Blumhouse movie.
Yeah.
And what we know about Blumhouse is good or bad, doing well or not well or breaking even. They do maintain a decent relationship with their with the people they use.
Oh, absolutely.
So
we know that they've kept the budget low. I'm sure the budget of Wolfman was reasonable. It's probably
under 25.
Yeah, I was gonna say under 30.
Yeah. It's made 30 right now, so
yeah. And it'll come out, and it'll have a good life on streaming for a while. So I'm not worried about it.
I think it's I think the hatred of the Wolfman, or Wolfman, the wolf, and I said it's palpable online from even people that I was surprised by. Everything. I do think some of it is I inherently dislike anything that's Blumhouse today.
Yeah, that's become
that's become a thing.
Unfortunately, Blumhouse has become a little bit of they've got a little bit of a reputation now.
And they are. A lot of their things do suck, and Jason Blum is
a little schlocky sometimes now.
And Jason Blum ain't great. To be fair. So anyway, having said that, we were let's revisit The Invisible Man 2020.
Makes perfect sense to me.
And this was a fucking This was a movie that I remember it came out in February of 2020 to kind of paint you a picture where we were, and people were raving about it. They were like, "This was one of those ones that gets so good." I hope Elizabeth Moss. I know it's only February, but I hope she's in contention for the
Yeah,
Oscar.
she should get an Oscar nod for
Right?
this. She
It's
never
that,
will.
and she never will. And this whole that, but that was that picture. I remember everyone saying, "You got to see Invisible. You got to see Invisible." And I'm reading here. I mean, it it was shot on 7 million and it made 140 million budget. But
Wow.
what I want to put in context of that is this movie's run was shut short by COVID.
Yeah, it actually February 2020. We're talking about maybe what 3-4 weeks into
Two,
it was
not
when
even,
lockdown started.
not even.
3-4 weeks into its run, right?
This comes out on February 28th.
Oh, so not even
So this COVID is, and
lockdown starts what, March 20th, something like that,
14th,
16th.
20th. I only
Yeah,
said
something
because
like that.
I'll never forget. There's that 2-week window where it's kind of a joke, or there's this thing I don't know. I'm gonna go do things, and then boom, the NBA shuts down. A couple days later, the other sports teams,
Yeah.
the other running sports and big things follow. Then on that Sunday, and this is only my own timeline, because I was supposed to go to an XFL game, and they
Ooh, hell
canceled
yeah!
on the Friday.
You really missed your opportunity because COVID killed the XFL again.
I know I got to go to 2 games. I had season tickets, baby. Uh, we were supposed to go on the field that day too, because I came.
Damn.
Season tickets were this is why we only did it. $150 for the whole seasons, and you got all these perks. And we were like,
That's
great.
rad,
And they
actually.
were on Saturdays, and it was awesome. You get I think you got 5 games. It was like a 10-game season or some
Yeah,
shit.
it's a lot of fun.
It was like we were prepared for the March and April of our lives. Just to be like, yeah, it's gonna be the best. And then we got to do 2 of them.
Yeah.
Because it was cold. It was cold too. Anyway, so I just remember being like, oh, we'll still go, and then it shut down, and we, blah blah, did something else that day. And that Sunday, because we were at my mom's, she was like, all right, you guys get the hell out of my house. This thing's scary. I don't want you in my house. And then work calling, and at that time there were no really good plans in place to work from home. They're like, okay, we're working in home indefinitely, or for 2 weeks or something. And that was I
Yeah.
would say around March 14th, March 17th. And anyway, so this movie, I don't know when theaters completely said we're closed, but it was around that time.
Yeah,
It
probably
was
wasn't too much longer after that.
And then they resumed a month later or something.
Yeah.
So this movie's effect, and it's really cool to see it still did well. One of the funniest aspects of this movie, I thought, in its production it's in production for a while, and it was originally part of the Dark Universe plan.
Oh, baby, the Dark Universe.
Which Johnny Depp was supposed to be in it.
Oh, he was going to be the Invisible Man. I remember that. There's that famous picture. I think Javier Bardem was going to be Frankenstein. I don't know if he was the Doctor or the Monster. That was yet to be determined.
I don't remember. You had Angelina Jolie as the Bride of Frankenstein. You had, Tom Cruise as the Mummy movie. The guy, the Dracula Untold guy. I think they were still going to include.
Were they still going to bring him back? I was like, Dracula Untold was even before. I
No,
feel like
you're right. That was supposed to be the kickoff, and
that
then,
was the kickoff, and then that stuttered because that movie wasn't very good. And then they tried to start it again with the Mummy. And maybe if the Mummy had taken off, they never cast another Dracula. I do think that maybe in the back of their minds they thought they might bring him back, but it was never explicit. I wouldn't say.
You're probably right.
But either way, we were all. I mean, the world was so primed for the Dark Universe. It's funny that they've taken that idea now and made it a Universal Studios theme park. There's a new in Florida. They have the new Universal Park, and I've just seen an ad for it. And one of their lands, they're it's 5 different worlds, and one of them is the monsters world.
That's
and
cool.
It's Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, all of that shit.
I remember seeing a tweet. That's cool as hell. I'd love to see that, because I remember seeing a tweet. Someone being
sounds fun. Yeah.
Being it's a real shame because setting up that Dark Universe, because that stuff takes years of development, things like that. They're they had whole production offices and artwork and things of just to immerse, I guess, the creatives.
Well,
Like
it's
they were like,
clearly
it
been
was
bubbling under the surface for these people for a long time because Van Helsing also toyed with this idea of like we're gonna like bring in Dracula and Frankenstein and Jekyll and Hyde and it's gonna
so.
kind of all be connected, you know.
So this is technically stems from that. Because, like I said, I'm reading, and
Originally in its
reading,
production, I think so, but by the time this movie actually got made,
yeah, like
they knew it was dead. They knew
yeah,
Dark
Leigh
Universe was
Whannell's
dead.
attached, and like, what do we see? Elizabeth Moss walk in as the Invisible Woman at the end. What's
She
her?
does take that. I mean, spoilers, but she does take a suit at the end.
Yeah, there was a headline from the Wolfman Press of like Leigh Whannell says no, that's this story is done. We are not giving you a sequel to the Invisible Man.
Yeah,
And it's like, what would she just takes revenge out? It would be like a promising young woman, basically.
yeah, I guess. No,
Uh,
what she does is she took that suit and sold it to the government. Got rich.
so speaking of that, okay, so I'm gonna jump in. We've been a little long. I've been a little long winded because there's been so much to say about like.
We've been just been chatty. We've been chatty.
But the movie does start. I do love how the movie does start. It just jumps you right in the sense of it shows a woman escaping from her home, trying to quietly escape from her home.
It's
You know,
obviously it's good tension. It also establishes like the lab. The kind of like tech isolation of the bill. You get a little like layout of the house, which is going to come into play a couple times in the movie. Like it's a setting that we need to know, and they kind of, like I said, like you learn things about the
there's
guy just by her
surveillance,
walking around. You see the lab, you see like how everything looks.
even the
Very tech
surveillance.
bro coded
Yeah,
here.
like a camera to the bed is a weird, like even to be propped to a bed is a weird thing in a house. Like it's all there. She's very quiet, and even at first, no, which it's like I get, would she drug the guy? Spoiler, she did because the way she's moving around is still like quiet, but you wouldn't do that. Be like, well, I'm just gonna tiptoe out of here.
Yeah.
Um,
But they do show that she's got a good plan, like she's got her go bag, she's got like she knows she's going down
she hid it,
she goes down to shut off the cameras, like she clearly has planned for this.
so she does that. Runs to the thing, runs to the street. Her sister is picking her up, and he comes running down, and her husband, Adrian, when we say her, it's Elizabeth Moss.
Adrian Griffin, which the Griffin is a name you'll always hear when they're doing Invisible Man. That's like the original Invisible Man last name, Griffin. I did watch the 33 one. I love that this movie does a good job of keeping the whole Invisible Man's a maniac. I feel like a lot of times like he's like more like a rogue or like an anti-hero, but I like my Invisible Man as a crazy person.
Well,
And in the original, it's actually the serum that like makes him crazy.
yes, that was because I was always I'm like so not educated in the topic of it. Like my reference is like the fake one of Hollow Man.
Hollow Man, or Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase,
Ooh.
the movie that John Carpenter made and also hates.
That I believe. But yeah, so there's a ton of different, but it's yeah. So this guy though, Adrian, super strength. I mean, the way he just punches that window,
He shatters that window pretty easily, boy.
I slow mode it, like pause slow mode to be like, maybe he has like a brass knuckle on or something. No, it isn't.
I mean, he does come running in, so maybe the force of just like running out of the woods and full on like just smashing into it.
I mean, like once again, fake suspension of disbelief movie, but I don't know. I feel like even if we give someone really strong, like just one bear punch to the window, I don't know if we're shattering it.
I don't know. It looks difficult.
But he does.
I did want to say we get just a taste when she's getting ready, when she's like getting her bag and sneaking through the house. They give us like our first little taste of like using empty space to create tension. He kind of like slow pans to the hallway. Now obviously this isn't the way he uses it later. Here we're just like, is Adrian going to come down the hall? Is Adrian going to wake up? But it's just like our first little
using
touch
space
of how you're going to use like space and camera movements and emptiness to like convey tension.
It's brilliant. It's and these are I guess more common now, but it's a corner watcher movie. Like I when
Yeah,
I say I look at the corner here, I'm like okay, I know like when you're scared or something, you're like, all right, and you know enough movies, you're like, all right, if I like the center, nothing's gonna happen at the center. I gotta looking at the corner, see, it's like it's a corner. Long Legs was recently like that for me, where
yeah,
which
sure.
again, not as it's a whole different movie and scary, not scary, but I was like in the theater, like I'm watching the corners because it was using the space. Like this, when I was rewatching Liz Man, I'm like, okay, there's definitely gonna some signs that he's in the room in the corners because that's what
Yeah,
you're looking
yeah.
for, right? And there's a lot
But
of
actually, they're
shots.
really good about not do overdoing a lot of that. Like
They don't do it at all.
he will just like frame up a two shot like there's another person there, but it'll just be an empty spot.
They don't do it.
You know?
He doesn't do it at all.
No,
The
no, that's
first
insane.
the first big one is when the in the kitchen when the
Right, he
bacon that's on
basically just
fire
turns up the stove. That's like kind of the
and
first little like
and you watch that and I don't know maybe the knob turns that my eye didn't catch,
yeah,
but you watch that and the smoke is very purposely going in a direction a human would be standing. She sprays the fire extinguisher there, and there is not one little there's an arm. You
yeah. They
know,
don't. Yeah, exactly. They don't overdo that at all. They
it
let it.
happens so many times until he wants to be revealed, which is the bedroom.
Yeah,
Anyway, so she she escapes, right,
she's
and
hanging out with she's
two
hiding out
weeks
with
later.
a cop friend played by Aldous Hodge, who was Hawkman in Black Adam. And
He's really
apparently,
good.
I think he's also the new Alex Cross. I think there's an Alex Cross TV
He's
show,
he's
and I think he's
really
playing
good.
Alex Cross now.
He's really good in this movie. I do also want to shout out the girl who plays the young actress who plays his daughter,
Storm Reed.
Storm Reed.
She's in A Wrinkle in Time, which is another underrated adaptation.
Never saw that one, but she was in that.
People didn't like it, but A Wrinkle in Time is a brutally hard book
Yeah,
to try
I'm
to
not judging it.
adapt.
She was in she did that movie Missing that came out a few years ago, which was
Oh,
like
right, I remember that.
same people who made that Searching one. It was all like on laptop and phones. Don't watch the trailer. The trailer is the whole movie.
Yeah.
Not even exaggerating. But her mom goes missing. Hence it. Very good in it. She's very good in it. It's that same way of like you're kind of just acting by yourself to a webcam the whole time. You have
Yeah.
to be good.
Got to carry it. Yeah.
She's so good in this movie too.
I do think it's funny they make her she's getting ready to go to college and they make it fashion school. The only reason it's fashion school is so they can do a mannequin jump scare later.
which I would just say right now, I was like, how the fuck? How's that at the foot of your bed? Even in
Well,
your
I
room?
like that they kind of have it dressed like the classic
Which yeah,
Invisible
that's
Man.
the
Like that's the idea, right?
another shout out to Back to the Wolfman. Clearly is like yeah, and he was dressed like the original Wolfman with like the green outfit on in that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that was a so Leigh now likes to outfit his people up. No, I
He
thought
gets his references in there,
that was a good reference though of the mannequin looking like the original Invisible Man. But I seeing that as someone who like a is blind without glasses or contacts in, like blind at nighttime, things are even more just blobs. So like I will be like, that's a like the Christmas tree will look like a human being to me.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And then having
Uh
an actual human shaped thing like towering over your bed at night.
crazy. Crazy. Like put it there's a big house. Put it in a different room. Be like,
Yeah,
this is where
off
I'm
to
gonna
the corner, something. Also, there's a deleted scene where she is showing like an outfit she designed to see, and it's hideous. Like the outfit is so bad. It's like a terrible, terrible outfit. I'm glad they cut the scene out
that might have
because you'd
been
be like, this girl, don't waste your money. She ain't going to college. She ain't getting it anywhere.
that might have been a studio note if it's that bad.
um she's in hiding. She clearly has like agoraphobia, PTSD. She's sure that Adrian is going to find her. Her sister comes over and she like berates her sister about like breaking basically the quarantine. She's like, he knows you picked me up. He'll follow you. He'll find you. But the sister's there to say that Adrian has killed himself.
Yes. He could not live without and going on anymore. He has killed herself. And she's like, that doesn't sound like Adrian.
Yeah, through this, there's a couple things going on in this movie that, like, obviously the movie is about like abusive relationships, and there's a lot of like gaslighting from Adrian,
Yeah.
but there is also so many times that people have an opportunity to believe her and they don't. Like, and like this is one of the first ones, obviously. Now, granted, it's going to be hard to believe her. Like, he killed himself. It's all here and legal. It's in writing, supposedly. Blah blah
Mhm.
blah blah blah. But she is right almost every time, and nobody believes her. Even up until we'll get to it, but even to the very end, when like she has been proven right, people still don't believe her. So
It is a great, like, to be fair, it's a crazy thing to believe. I have one bugaboo that I will wait for because it's a big scene,
yeah,
the biggest scene of the movie, or before the biggest scene of the movie. It's my biggest issue with like not believing her.
yeah. Well, and no, I agree that the whole thing is set up. It's funny because the movie does a good job of, obviously, the invisible man suit is like a perfect tool for gaslighting. You do all kinds of stuff, but it also kind of like, the way he uses it still follows like some very traditional abuse tropes, like as far as like separating her from her
Oh
family and
yeah.
separating her from her support system, stuff he had already done to her
Well,
once, and now is using the invisible man suit to do again,
that's
basically.
what's really, yeah, cool in that sense. But about the movie itself is, if they lay it out for you without showing it, like, this guy was doing this without this suit on.
I mean, after
So
she finds out that he killed himself, she does sit down with him and finally kind of like go over the abuse a little bit. It seems like part of it was isolating because her sister doesn't seem to really know what was going on. So,
well,
like, obviously part of it was isolating her from her family, and
uh,
so that they didn't know.
well, what I think a part of, yeah, like, and I think what they do a cool job of layering in the story about their history is, like, I think she probably was really, because of the isolation from the family and this, hostile to someone like her sister, and you know,
Well, you
basically
get
a bit,
situations like that where the
uh,
family members are like, "Hey, this guy might be bad news," and you're like changing and because of being
yeah,
with him,
like,
and
I
then
think
they turn that into the defensive and they go, you're trying to come between us," and the
I
guys
think
on the other end, and he's gassing her up like, "Oh, they're trying to come between us," and blah
I
blah
think
blah,
she
and
was basically a bitch to her probably family and friends while with him, until a point where it was like, no, 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 you gotta believe me, get me out of here. And like, okay, like, I'm giving you a chance.
And also,
Um,
he probably kept her from them, like
yes. Well,
only interacted with his circles,
so
kept
that's
his friends, his groups, not her.
well, that's the question of, like, she goes to stay with James, and his daughter, and she's like, well, he won't, it's like, he won't find me here. And it's like, oh, this guy was a close friend, but you either broke off a relationship, or Adrian never knew about
I
James's
thought maybe
friendship.
he was a friend of the sister. Like he's a
No,
cop friend of the sister, maybe.
I think he's her good friend.
Just somebody that Adrian didn't know.
Yeah, because in the wiki it says, Cecilia hides out with her childhood friend, San Francisco police detective James Lanner, and his teenage daughter. So I think that's just someone who she knows and was like, I never introduced them, but they were
Yeah, but
still,
Adrian wasn't aware
they
of them for
they
whatever
never
reason.
made
All right,
close,
that's fair.
because your first instincts are like, well, fucking, of course Adrian's just gonna go looking at all your friends' houses. In my opinion, right? So anyway,
Oh, he's a man of resources. Yeah, obviously he'd be tracking
I
you
like
down.
that the
That's why she was mad that the sister came over to her hideout because she's like, you could have let him here.
yeah, I like
um,
that the
which
story tells us.
after she finds out that Adrian's dead, she does start to kind of relax a little bit. She like can walk outside, etc. Um, but then she gets a letter to come to Adrian's brother's office. He's a lawyer.
So, I did want to say one thing in there. It was a good part of it. I know, like I said, I know we're being long-winded with this one. Um, the letter that the obit tells us something too. I paused to read it.
Oh, okay.
It's deep into it, even though it lingers on the shot for a while. I never read that far on a movie.
Nah, yeah.
um, but it says, Adrian's known for basically the invisible tech. It doesn't say invisible technology, but it says like
Well,
reflective engineering
that
or
comes up
something.
later with me when it seems like it's not until she goes back to the house and actually finds the suit that she knows what he's doing. She like there's times when she's walking around the house and she clearly is weirded out and feels there, but it's unclear if she knows that a invisible suit could be in play.
It's probably something he made aware. I'd imagine that like, oh, I'm working on this thing or developed, but
Yeah.
she's probably never seen it. But there's probably been things like it, or I don't know, but
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't you
unclear. It's unclear
in the
where, like,
obit.
what her level of knowledge was.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter because eventually she finds out about it anyway, and then she
yeah.
knows enough,
Any,
and it
anyway,
makes all make sense
you're
to
right.
her.
So she has to go to a will or
Right? She has to go to the brother's office because, like, Adrian left her money.
yeah.
I do like the whole thing where like he's gonna like he asked me to read this and it's all like a gaslighty ass letter that's like, even though you treated me badly and made me kill myself, I still love you. And the sister just shuts it down immediately. It's like, no, we're not listening to that shit.
Yeah.
We're not you're
Yeah.
not reading that
Five,
here.
five million for basically immediately after a few months if you don't go to prison
Yeah, and it's like
or you don't commit
it's
a
in
crime.
payments, which is again another way of like controlling her in a way. Like meeting, you get money, but I'm gonna mete it out to you, so you always have me in your life, and you'll always have like
And
I'll be connected to you, and my brother will be connected to
you can't.
you,
You're
and
gonna you could do a lot, but you can't do as much as you want to do with
yeah,
5 million.
still dependent on me. She
Uh,
does jump the gun a little bit on promising the college, right? Like she doesn't even have $1 in her pocket yet, and she's like, "I'm gonna pay for your college."
because yeah, she's like, and then some. It's like,
Yeah, like
but that's also why when she would
and
also,
also, again, like that part doesn't ring true because for somebody who's so skeptical about the type of person Adrian is, the fact that she would think that she was going to get this money with no strings and that she was so happy,
well, I
I
think
feel like I would
she's.
immediately be suspicious about
Uh, I,
this.
I don't know. I think she's suspicious, but I also think she's taken as like, I've seen it. I know I have the money, and at that time, there's no way he's like gonna come back invisible and fucking murder me.
I'm so confident. There's no way he could come.
um,
Um, this
but
is where it's kind of right after this that we get we're finally we're getting into like what we were talking about before where we really start to use the like camera movements and the open space and to like give a feel that there's someone in the house with her.
because he's
There's
with
even a thing
her,
here that he does a similar thing to in Wolfman where you get the impression that literally he's right in her face, but she can't see him. And they do that in the Wolfman with like him being in with the darkness and him being able to see in the dark and her not
yeah,
knowing. And there's an element of that there. But this is where we get kind of like stalks around the house. We really don't know until we get that great breath reveal, which is like such a tight little moment, and also breath well used in Wolfman. Leigh Whannell's got a little bag of tricks here. We're
yeah.
starting to notice.
This plays that tension real well, and like because of the way I was watching it today, they had to pause quite a bit. The beats of everything are all like on the perfect mark. When you're like, oh, this first reveal is 20 minutes in, or like
Yeah,
it's like half hour in, 20 minutes in, she gets the will, blah blah.
yeah.
Blah. It's so well paced, and yeah, the bag of
Yeah. Oh,
tricks.
even we didn't mention, but like the little moment you talked about with the breakfast kind of happens in between here too. Like
The breakfast is
there's always a little bit. There's like something else. Like
the
it's very
first.
yeah, like you said, well paced.
That's the first big one for me. The breakfast, because it is in that traditional setup of like, it's not as long. It's not 5.5 minutes,
Well, they
but it's
just like
like,
hold on that wide shot.
well, so
Like I
they
said,
hold
it's
on the wide,
framed up like there's a person there when she's in, and then she leaves, and they
and it
keep that same
stays.
framing.
It's the way that without the jump scare, it's the way that the Exorcist Three's famous jump scare setup. It's like,
Sure.
we're just sitting here, and historically, as a movie, well, something's gonna come into frame that's gonna creep me out, and all that happens is the fire goes,
Yeah, it just gets turned up a little bit.
and
You
you
don't
could
really get a lot going
and you
there.
could
And I think
also
again, like I like the way I like the subtleness of, like you said, there's no you almost see someone when she blows. It's much more restrained than that.
And I think the movie also, for me, and I'm a dumb person, maybe why, is I also question, like, I don't know, what was it him doing that at that shot?
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, you have the plausible deniability there
Yeah.
for at least for a little bit longer.
For a little bit. So it really becomes to a head, though. She's kind of, like you said, there's little things she's suspecting, nothing's crazy, but she's like, I feel something. Someone's around. I don't.
Yeah. And
And
also the breath reveal, so we know he is there for
yes,
sure.
the breath reveal happens.
Yeah.
But just like this around, and she's at night, and that's where we talked about you get the Invisible Man Easter egg, and she kind of jumps up in the middle of the night, freaks out.
Well, he's taking pictures of him too. Like her and Storm Reed are sharing a bed, and we see we just see flashes. And we know that he's like obviously snapping pictures of her, and then she wakes up to the mannequin and has the jump scare. But then we get this scene with the sheet, which I think is like a masterclass of tension. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
it's
the
on it. He's
directing.
rushed to it. And she's like pulling it, and
When she throws it over the chair and it doesn't, you're so ready for it to land and see him and see his outline, and then it doesn't. You're like, oh man, it gets me a couple different times.
there also must be some technology in that suit that like silence, like Black Panther technology, like the silent shoes.
Yeah, that's true. You don't hear like the click clack click clack click clack of him walking around.
But yeah, that sheet seems so good, and like, James comes running in, and it's like they're like, and then it benefits from writing him as a cop character, because he's a character. Is like, I don't know. I'm
credulous.
I'm a San Fran city detective. I've assumedly seen every horrors you could imagine. Nothing here.
Yeah.
Um.
And also, like, he would have seen he knows that best case scenario she's still barely recovering from a horrific trauma and post-traumatic stress, and damn near was agoraphobic a few weeks ago and couldn't even leave the house. So like, it would be you would just be like, oh, she's spiraling, she's having a panic attack. You know what I mean? She's just like, she's regressing a little bit. She's made a lot of progress, but this is a little step back. But like,
to add
she's a little worked up because of the thing with having to go see the brother. Like, you would rationalize it. It was be very easy to rationalize this.
Easily. If you were in my house or something, I'd be like, all right, he's just like having an episode. He's a little freaked out.
Yeah, well, I've been through a lot. I'm dealing with a lot.
Yeah,
like, yeah. You would comfort me, but you would also be like, okay,
I'm like, Brian's handling this a lot worse than I imagined. We should hang out. We should go hiking this weekend. I've never been hiking. I went hiking once and I hated it. So,
we should go hiking.
I don't know.
The only time I have enjoyed hiking as an adult when I was on mushrooms. So.
That's what people do, though. My friends like, you would
eat mushrooms?
I would love to eat mushrooms. I'd rather eat mushrooms than not hike. But everyone's like, we should go. People are like, we gotta go hiking. I'm like,
well, when you eat the mushrooms, you hike a little bit, but then you pretty much stop. You don't get very far, and then you stop and you sit down.
That sounds nice. That sounds nice. I'll do that. One thing we did miss, which is that the scene's not out of place, but it's out of place, is her in the job interview early.
Yeah.
In the sense
is a nice little cameo from one of the guys who's like a bad guy in Upgrade, though. I like seeing him. The guy who gives her the interview is a dude in Upgrade who's got like a gun in his arm. He's like kind of like a physical bad guy.
You'll say that's out of place because it's like, I don't know, you're just told you get like $5 million, and she's like, I'm gonna go to work. Which again, she's an architect and she has a passion. And the bug part of this scene is,
I think it's just another thing to like give another little scene where he's messing with her, but maybe it should have come before. It should have been part of the like before she finds out about the money and she's like getting back to her life. She's going to the maybe it should have just come a little earlier.
It works though, because the scene itself, and the reason I'm bringing it up is important to later, is she goes there and she's an architect, so she has a portfolio. And it also shows like they film the guy's himself, his dialogue. He's like creepy, but not overtly creepy, just in the sense of like she's just tired of like men, like him being like, oh, pretty girls everywhere. And like, I don't think the guy is creepy, but I think the movie wants us to be like, she's just over men.
She's just not in a place where she wants to hear that shit right now. Like,
and, but I also think, which we realize, she might not actually be overwhelmed, right? So she was drugged. She faints, right? The
she passes.
portfolio
Her portfolio's
is
empty, and that
missing.
kind of like I think makes her anxious, and then like kicks in the drugs, and she passes out. And she finds out she goes to the hospital, and she finds out she was drugged.
Yeah,
She
and
has
they're like,
drugs in her system,
and they're
and
like,
this is when he really starts like taunting her
well, yeah, they
because he
said
leaves the pill bottle out.
they say blah 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 diazepam,
Yeah,
which was what she used to drug him,
exactly.
and the pill's there, right, and there's a bloody fingerprint on it, and
Yeah, he puts the pill bottle out. Now he's actually actively taunting her. Like
and
he's escalating every time.
and
Like now he
that's
wants her to know he's
and
there.
this is before the bed scene with the reveal, but then her she does go to like James the cop and is like, we got to go to the lawyer's office, and she starts telling it. And I actually don't know why she didn't tee it up with him, at least in the parking lot. Like, this is what's going on. You got to believe me. He works on these technologies,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. And the two of them looked like, what? As the brother says, I have his ashes in a thing. He's dead. I don't know what you're
yeah.
doing.
You are in the room with him because he's over there on the in an urn or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like, okay, you found a pill bottle. Like it. Once again, if you're just explaining it without we've seen it, does sound insane. Anyway, so that happens, but to fast forward a little bit now, because we went all of that. Oh, I'm sorry. The bed app happened. This happens after the. I was wrong. The diazepam happens after the bedroom scene. She
Yeah,
does think
yeah.
that. I don't.
And
Uh,
then it's that's okay. But after the so she
this is when it
she goes home
escalates.
from the hospital and she's like she's all fucked up. She's sure that or she no I'm sorry not from the hospital from the meeting with the brother
Mhm.
and she's all fucked up and the daughter is trying to comfort her and the invisible man smacks the absolute shit out of the daughter and like it's such a
I
I'll tell you what like it's a great again, there's a couple of good escalations here that you don't see coming, and that's the first one for me where I was like, I did not see that coming at all, and it works so perfectly. It's like, again, we talked about the way the suit can be used to like escalate the way you can gaslight somebody. You can
it's
actually physically act for them now.
yeah,
Like,
but once again, I'm gonna have to rewind a little bit here, but I'm gonna go to your. He fucking. She's like, Stormbringer like, let's have a girls' night. It'll be fun. And like, she's just close enough, but far enough away where she gets hit that like, disoriented. So like,
there's
she's like,
plausible deniability. It could have
stay
been
away from
Elizabeth
me.
Moss who belted me in the mouth.
Stay away. The dad comes in, and the dad immediately is like, all right, get out of my house. Which
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
the most.
he actually is like, you can stay because I know you have nowhere to go, but he takes the daughter out, right?
Yeah,
He
well, he
like,
says like, get like you're not going to be here when I get back.
yeah, yeah, there you go.
Um, and well, I only just wanted because it was the only part of the movie which we rewind with that really was like, I don't. It was right after that, right after the pill bottle scene, and in between the smacking scene.
Okay.
She goes to her sister's house or her sister's apartment.
Oh, that the email thing?
Yeah, and her sister is like, "How dare you fucking come here?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You sent me this, you sent me this email, how basically calling every bitch bad way, I hate you, this and that. You're."
Yeah, like basically an email came from Elizabeth Moss to her sister that was like leave me alone, get out of my life. You know,
And
you're
her
keeping me
sister,
down. You never help me or whatever. Like
and I guess chalked up to getting money now or something. But her sister says, like you just can't recognize the good people in your life, blah blah. Well, there's only reason I have a problem with this is her sister should have a minimum an inkling of like if hell even not brother sister brother sibling. If I received an email from you like that, but our last interaction was positive.
right, that was all out of the blue like that. You would at least be like, what the fuck is going on with this
I'd probably be
email?
like, that doesn't sound like Brian, or like something's
Yeah.
off. That's all it would be like
I'd
something.
at least be asking about it before I was just like, well, it's good to know how you really feel about me. I'd probably be like,
That's
what's going on with this email, dude?
that's
This
what
is
I
just
mean.
kind of fucked up. Did you mean to
Yeah,
send this to me? Is this like, are you venting? Is this a joke? What's up
I
here?
get the story, get it from a story, but yes, there would be more of a from the last month these two just had, I would like to believe there'd be more of a what? You
Yeah.
why'd you send me this?
There's a lot of it's a theory. Some of my the Mr. Sunday movies, those guys, Weekly Planet, they'll talk about sometimes where like there's movie plot points that can sometimes be solved with like a post-it note or
Mhm.
like a 2 sentence discussion.
But
if people stop for like it would ruin the tension of the movie, so you can't do it. But
you
like
can't.
honestly, in the real world, this situation would last like 30 seconds because somebody would be like, "Hey, what's up with this?" And be like, "I didn't send that." "Oh, I didn't think so. It seemed weird."
There's so many movies like that. You're like, oh, one phone call just
Just
solves
one
this whole thing.
conversation, one phone call, leave a post-it, something, you know?
But yeah, I think that is one particular. I'm like, yeah, you'd be, but yeah, so that does happen, and that's also why when she gets smacked, though, she can't leave.
Well,
Um,
again, like that's the whole thing we talked about. Like he's now using the Invisible Man shit to do the same thing he did before, which is separate her from her support system. He's doing, he's sending the email to the sister. He's smacking Storm Reed. He's like keeping it so that nobody believes. She's already making it so that like the stuff she says is so unbelievable that nobody believes her, and everybody thinks she's having a breakdown anyway.
So we're approaching like um the hour mark now ish. We're like 20 minutes, 10 minutes from the hour mark, and what she does, right? James and Storm Reed leave, and they
This is where we have our like why me. This is like the big acting moment for Elizabeth
yeah,
Moss. She
she
has her big kind of soliloquy about like why me, what's so
why
special about
me? She
me.
knows he's there. She's yelling about
Yeah.
it, and this fucking lady though, instead of being like, you know what, I've caused these people a lot of trouble, she trashes their house for a good reason. But she
She's pouring
trashes.
coffee all over the floor. That's gonna take forever to clean up.
This guy's just trying to remodel, and she spills coffee grounds all over the floor, and she just sits there, and she sits there for a long time. This was like, wow, this guy like went to a hotel because it's 4 a.m. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
the homeowner, her friend, didn't just leave for like, I'll be back in I'm coming back in an hour. He
No,
was
he
like, you can
took
sleep for
Storm
the
Reed
night.
somewhere, and they're gone for the night.
And
Apparently,
because it's 4 a.m., she stays up till it. She's just over it. Yeah, and this is when um she has
something
an
gives her the idea to try to call his phone. I don't know why she decides to do it.
yeah, and she does, and it's very silly though that this house has a landline in 2019. Uh, that's besides the point. But they have a landline. Must have been a good deal for cable internet and land.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was a bundle.
yeah. Um, but she calls and she hears vibrating. She's like, haha, I got it. And she fucked this dumb bitch. This dummy. She climbed they have a crawl space attic.
I love anytime in a movie where somebody's like, a knife in a plastic bag. I better open this up and hold this and grab
What?
this. Grab it by the
I
handle and wave it
yeah,
around.
because guess what I could see through the plastic bag? The knife. I don't need to
Yeah,
take it
it's a
out.
Ziploc, plastic Ziploc. It's totally clear. You can see everything about the knife through it. But you know what? Get your hand. I gotta get my hands on this.
This is a dumb question. Is that the knife that's used later to slit the throat of
Yeah, I think
sister?
it is.
Okay, should have been a red flag for the police right there that was even in the restaurant. Um, but
And we haven't got to that yet. But also, he slaps it into her hand there, so he didn't need her to touch it in the attic either.
no,
Like that's totally. She's just helping him out at
yeah,
that point.
that was reflex. I mean, that's one of those scenes like I guess just reflexes. It's in your hand.
No, Reflex doesn't take it out of the bag.
No. I'm saying with the slit throat, the slit
Oh
throat.
yeah, but he actually slaps it into her
Yeah.
hand. Like
No. She takes. You watch it. She goes to the phone. Obviously, the pictures of her sleeping and stuff, and then
finds the phone, finds her
her
portfolios up there.
like he's been waiting for this moment. He knows his wife well enough, and he's this, and then she's like, "Look, I should have known." And that's what said. This point is fucking one. She just trashed this man's house. As she does, she throws the paint down, and you see him on it.
Great design for the Invisible Man suit. So creepy. The kind of like covered in eyes kind of vibe of it. The biblical angel vibe. Like
great, and it kind of has a little bit of God, what's that term when you're afraid of like your phobia of holes?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean, but I cannot think of the
You
name
know,
of it
like the
though.
crate, like I'm not having a phobia, but I do find like patched holes that almost look like honeycombs. I'm like in like skin.
Like in the
Disgusting.
new Candyman has that element to
Yeah,
it
like
where his
I don't like that type of
it's
look.
very upsetting. Yeah,
Like the suit has a little of that to it.
sure.
Um, but you see it right, and he scurries away,
The
and the thing
paint
is,
reveal is again like much like the breath, perfectly timed. And we should talk a little bit about the sound design and the lack of music. Like basically the score is also invisible. Like the whole idea is that everything's dropped out and quiet. Like there's no real score to it.
yeah.
Only kind of like ambient sound for the most part. Like it's really tense
Oh,
in a very deliberate way,
yeah, and very much a big
And it
thing.
doesn't feel like it's doing that thing where it's quiet to lead you to a jump scare
No, it's
or
just
do a
quiet.
bright. It's just like yeah, like I said,
It's
invisible
quiet.
sound.
It's quiet. I mean, like the sound completely shuts off at some scenes, but
They
things
do
like,
have that kind of like almost screech noise when the reveal, but it's really like the
well, this,
servos in the suit, like
yeah,
it kind of like
yeah,
freaks out, and it serves that purpose
and
also.
but it's the works when they're like, they have their fight, right? And the sound plays, and it works. Like the score swells in because it's like I don't need to
Sure,
build the
sure. During the
tension more.
action, absolutely.
Um, the one thing also that's in this scene, which plays well, is he says the word surprise, and he says the word surprise a lot.
Yeah, he texts it to her. He
Mm,
says it to her. And
yeah.
that's going to come into play
Yes.
eventually.
But yeah. So the paint. So the poor homeowner. And we really get now
Yeah,
his.
this guy, no good deed goes unpunished. He takes this lady into his house, and his life is the worst for it for a
Yeah.
while. It's
Uh.
hellish later.
Yeah. I will. It's the first assault. We get like the first like actual like physical assault from him. I mean, like other than
On
Storm Reed
her,
getting hit
Storm
on
Reed got a
her,
physical assault.
on her. You get the choking, right? Which
Yeah,
also, though, how high she gets lifted up. I'm like, that's just a perspective of like also how tiny and large he is.
yeah, and well, like I said, we've seen him punch through the window. Goes unsaid, but like he could definitely be a fucking gym rat bro.
He has
He
to
could
be.
be on. He could be souped up on gear. He could be on HGH or some
He
shit.
probably
You
is
know
on
what I
all
mean?
the
Like
above, right?
all well within the realm of possibility for
Well, we
him.
know they've been trying to have a kid, so I'm sure he's taking testosterone because
Yeah,
of the
probably
PT. Um,
need to
but
get on
yeah,
that hymns.
big podcast
Get
listeners.
yourself some
Did,
hymns.
did you know
Get your
hymns could
boners back.
Do you know
Hey,
hips could not only solve boners back, but it could solve your hair growth and
hair.
your attitude?
I'll get hair. I'll
Yeah,
get boner. I'll get
yeah.
hair
We'll
and
go
boner.
this. Yeah, we'll fuck this up.
Oh lordy.
That's my funniest thing. I get all those out. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a hair growth thing and a boner pill. Yeah,
Get
that's
boner
that's
pill. Both
yeah
you've just nailed them both.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I used to me and Harrison. Was making Harrison laugh because we were listening. It was before the hymns thing. It was like a commercial for a low T medication, and I just kept being like, "Oh, my pee pee soft, man, my pee pee hard,
Blue Chew.
my pee pee soft,
My pee so soft.
my pee pee soft, man, my pee pee hard."
Uh,
Yusef, you better never edit this.
no, this episode's a classic already. Um, anyway, so she calls a lift.
Yeah, she does get away. The fight goes on, but
She runs
she
for a
gets
while,
away.
and
She gets in an Uber or whatever, or a Lyft, and has him drive her all the way back to Adrian's
yeah,
house.
and that driver, that's another tension scene. He's so slow,
Yeah,
like from like her going go 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 lock the door, and he's like, okay, where you going? Just
definitely
like
has time for a man to jump on the back and cling
yeah.
to the back of the. You know,
K turns just really,
yeah,
really slow. I will say, our Invisible Man, great at cleaning paint quick off. That type of
very
latex
fast,
paint.
just in a regular sink, and didn't even seem to get much on the floor or
Yeah,
anything.
that type of latex paint. Oh man, that thing's a pain. That thing's a pain in the ass. You ever get a little on the floor and you're like, I gotta wipe
Also,
it off?
you like the there's so many little moving parts and servos and stuff in the suit. The paint didn't get in there.
I don't
It
know,
seems like it would take forever. You got to get a Q-tip in and go around all the little lenses and stuff.
maybe he developed some sort of a quick clean technology.
Also, he cleans it with water, but like we know, it has a hard time in the rain later. It's glitching out. Although, actually, she stabs him and like penetrates the suit, and
Yeah.
that's when it starts glitching
And
out.
once again, they did.
And then the rain also doesn't help.
I'll take a suspension of, we'll suspend some disbelief here.
Well, I like that because at that point in the movie, we're ready to start like being able to see him a little bit, and it makes it scary. And the way they do it is really good.
Yeah.
The glitching effect of kind of him coming in and out is really excellent.
Yes, I once again the later in the movie, the second really there's the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't just say, "Well, you're going to see him all the time," but when you do, you're like, "All right, we know he's around now, so let's reveal him more." Which she goes to the house. What the first thought though is, it's insane. The dog's still there.
Yeah, well, that's another hint that that obviously somebody's been there, right?
Yeah,
because the dog's still there.
Because I guess maybe there's a deleted scene somewhere or explanation somewhere. It's like maybe the brother's like, I've been taking care of this and that while I figure something out, right? Like, other than that, that's an odd thing for the dog to not be taken care of.
Yeah.
You know what? Now I'm saying it. I don't know why she wasn't like having it as a bit like I like because they make a point in the beginning of the movie to be like, I can't, you can't come.
Yeah, it's her empathy to the dog that almost gets her caught.
So anyway, well, you gotta be intimate with the dog.
I'll leave that dog behind.
But she goes down. She looks around a thing and she finds a suit. The biggest reveal for me is they had only been together about a year and a half.
Yeah, it hadn't been very long.
So
right?
they got together at 12, 14, 17. I couldn't remember. I didn't write my note quick enough if that was their wedding anniversary or their.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ever married. I don't know if they're married.
That's when they got together. That's their. So 12, 14, 17.
It's like the date they met or something.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
So the movie.
So at most 2.5 years, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's 20. I believe the movie's in 2019. Like I think it's supposed to be like 2019, maybe 2020. So yeah, 2 years ish. So she goes there, and she gets, the suit and this. The next scene, like, I want to make sure. So that's that, right? That's just attention.
She basically stashes the suit, but it is Adrian's there, right? Well, not him. Somebody's there.
Is someone there?
I'm pretty sure there's like a moment where like she runs away at the end, like when she leaves.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's implied that there's someone in the house with her.
She goes to Adrian's home to investigate the lab, where she finds an additional invisible bodysuit, confirming her suspicions. Right after she hides the suit in their former bedroom's closet, the invisible figure attacks again. She flees. Yeah. So like,
I think you're meant to think that Adrian got there too, but I think what you're actually seeing is the brother.
Yeah, the brother.
Like that's going to be obviously revealed later that the brother's helping him and is using the suits also.
Yes, and was probably just like.
So either that's Adrian at the house, or it was the brother. But either way,
my guess. I do kind of have an answer for this, but I'm going to make a more guess here. Is the brother was there, probably heard something, put the suit on, and was like, I'm going to watch. It wasn't waiting there being like, this is her next action.
Maybe he was there feeding the dog, honestly.
So the only reason why I say this is, Leigh Whannell actually says that because the ending, right, there's a bit of it could be question, was Adrian doing it, blah, blah, blah. He was.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. Whannell confirmed that Adrian appears in his suit every time the titular character is interacting with Cecilia and others in the movie, except the one time audience see Tom in the suit. So Cecilia returns to the house to find that Sydney and James are being attacked. That's the only time that is Tom you're seeing. Every other time it's Adrian.
So that means Adrian did hop on the back of the Uber then and ride all the way to the house from the attack. He got all the way there. He rode all the way back to his home.
No, maybe because this is like, let's get. I'm just pulling like an article from Screen Rant, an interview.
Yeah, that's fine.
So like, I'm gonna go on the belief that Tom was at his house, especially with the dog.
It feels like, I think you're supposed to at first maybe be like, how did he get there? Did he ride? Was he on the Uber? Did he? But I do think that it's supposed to be the other. There's just two of them using the suits. So she leaves. She stashes the suit. She gets away from the attack there. She gets in the same Uber. She gets home. She gets her sister to agree to meet her. Right, and that's the next thing.
I will. Yes, this is the big catalyst of the movie.
Oh, and this is the best scene in the movie. It's incredible.
And she's like, it's the best horror scene in the movie.
Yeah, fair.
And but you're right.
But talk about an unexpected escalation. Like, I don't think anybody who went to see this movie saw this coming.
Well, honestly, even on a rewatch, it's still fucking jarring.
Yeah.
Because she's like, last week we were talking about Misery. It's the hobbling scene in Misery. You don't see it coming in, like...
Yeah.
Because she's like, it's a smart location. It's like, no, meet me at... And it's a crowd.
Out in public,
It's a crowded restaurant. Like, she didn't pick, like...
And I like the element of the kind of like a little bit of annoying waiter. He's just doing his job, but he's also kind of oblivious to an obvious like situation.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a waiter, and if you come up and there's people crying at the table, you usually like give them a wide berth. You know, like they don't
come over every once in a while. Hey, you ready for your entree? And but yeah, so she like that scene happens, and what I like, like I said, it's crowded and the tension's there, or there's no tension, and her sister's kind of like, all right, no, okay,
She's at least open to listening to her, although she seems a little. You'd be like, if somebody came to you talking about an Invisible Man suit, you're going to be a little credulous.
But she's open to it.
Yeah.
She
definitely knows her sister's been through a lot and is trying her best to like sympathize and empathize with her.
Not to keep using our previous reference of last episode or other things. It's the Scatman Crothers scene. It's the Detective Wilkes or Detective
Buster,
Sheriff
Buster. Yeah.
It's all right. I believe you. I'm here.
I'm ready. I can help you. I'm ready to help you.
Axe the back.
Yeah. The way the setup of they're talking, and then the sister gets distracted, and you're like, and then what's she looking at? And they cut to a knife floating in the air. It's so good.
It's like this, right? It's just like, couldn't see my hand. It's like, ooh, like how's that?
Like, the way the sister is like listening, and then just kind of like, what the fuck? And then they cut around and show you that she's seeing a knife floating in the air.
It happens so quick.
Well, like I said, throat slit, and then he slaps it right into Elizabeth Moss's hand. And I like to think he probably stands there for a second and holds it in her hand. Like, puts his hands around her so she cannot let it go. So she can't drop it. He needs everybody he needs at least a couple people to see her with it,
And him, I'm sure if there was a camera in there, he moved it before that happened.
Oh, sure.
Because I couldn't imagine what modern restaurant doesn't have like.
I want to say, I don't know. I don't think they have the.
Once again,
later.
We're not. I know it's the silliest part about doing us doing podcasting for these movies is you look at things and talk about things as if you never would have thought about them or talked about them in a movie. Like in a million years, I'd be like, well, actually, would she? Would there be cameras in there? I don't know. That's not how we talk. So. But I'd imagine, right? He was like, all right, they're gonna have their dinner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go move that because.
Yeah, I don't want there to be video of a knife floating on its own. So we need to But he's smart enough tech savvy enough to have done something about that. Like, I feel like that's implied. You don't need to show us. It's fine.
You don't. That's a great part of this movie, and it's why I really like Leigh Whannell as a director. And I want to keep giving Wolfman its like minor flowers.
Yeah, I think you should.
Because
I liked it.
it's getting unfairly
I know it's
hated,
getting
in my
savage,
opinion.
but that's okay. I'll be the
And,
guy who likes every Wolfman movie. I liked
and
2011 one. I like this one. I'm just the guy who likes Wolfman movies, I
and
guess.
and and what I say that is he's already shown us, at least for even Upgrade, he's becoming such a good director of not having to show us every little thing, which is such a thing in movies today. Of like, here's it all. It's not laid out. It's implied in in who these people are
Yeah.
and these dialogue. One thing that's great about this movie is, and why we brought it up in this conversation, is every little thing or things all come back into play and have importance. Um, so yeah, she gets framed for, you know,
And obviously, I also love too that like she's not helping the situation with like how crazy she looks in the restaurants. Like she's clearly looks like a person who might slit your throat at any moment. So like if I'd have seen that lady holding a knife, I would immediately also think she did it. She looks like a murderer.
she's holding a knife. She hasn't probably slept in days.
She looks absolutely insane.
She's probably got like 2 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, awaiting, the next she's in the psychiatric hospital, and yeah,
Obviously, she sounds crazy, so nobody believes her. But they do reveal to her that she's
she's
pregnant.
pregnant from feigning the thing. Which, did that happen when she was on the run, or did he?
And I think it was like right before. Remember, he was trying to get her pregnant. She was
Yes.
taking birth control. I think he like stole her or replaced her
Okay.
birth control so that she thought she was on it, but she wasn't, and she got him pregnant in that
Yeah,
time.
that's what I
Probably
thought.
like kind of right before she planned her escape. You know.
Honestly, it's a better way to apply, because it's a mean movie, but it's not that mean.
Right. I don't think you're supposed to imply that he R'd her as the Invisible Man.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's not where I would draw a line and be like, "Ooh, that's a different type of horrors that you'd be
Yeah.
like, okay,
This movie doesn't quite go there. This is more of a slit your sister's throat in an open in a
yeah, much more palatable."
palatable. Yeah.
Um, but he does say in the hospital, "Surprise," in his
Yeah.
voice.
It's like the first time he actually talks to her when he's invisible.
Um, so I'm now. By the way, now I am just reading a little bit of the Wikipedia to help us move. So
No, it's fine. I know what happens next. The brother shows up to let her
yeah,
know that because of the criminal charges, she will not
yes,
be
that's a
getting the
big.
money.
Yeah, be like, well, you will not, which was clearly part of
But
the plan.
he
Oh,
also
he's like, I'll drop the charges.
is finally like acknowledges that he's in on it, acknowledges that Adrian's alive, and is like, if you come home with you and the baby come back, Adrian, the charges will be dropped. You'll get money. You'll obviously have money to take care of the baby and live your life. All you have to do is come back to him.
Yep, she returns to agree to him. You'll raise a child, implying Tom helped stage the murder or the suicide, which is so fucked up, right? Imagine you're already in there going crazy, and it's like, actually, human right, bitch.
Yeah. Oh shit. So she grabs during this meeting. She grabs a pen. She uses the. This is a really good idea actually because it's the whole Ripley in Alien 3, where she's got the alien queen inside her, so the alien can't kill her. She knows that if she attempts suicide, he will stop her. He'll reveal himself to stop her. And when he does that, that's when she gets him. She stabs him with the pen. She escapes. Now, talk about something that's out of place. This hallway scene is great. But what
So
the
good.
fuck movie is that even from? It is definitely not from this movie. Like
This is
movie has been like a slow burn, high tension,
it's
like,
Upgrade. It's from Upgrade.
and then it stops to be a Daredevil movie in the
It's yeah,
middle.
it's the hall. It's the hallway scenes from Daredevil.
It's like Darth
Yes,
Vader in Rogue One for 5 minutes.
because it's just like they literally said, "Okay, Elizabeth Moss,
The
go stand in the."
studio definitely told Leigh Whannell, like, we need a flashy scene where he like uses his invisible abilities to fuck up a bunch of
Yeah,
people.
because he literally goes, "Okay, Elizabeth, you're gonna be in the corner. It's not for you. Okay, um, guards just gonna come in. You're gonna take them out with one punch.
Yeah.
Just you're that strong.
He's very strong. So strong.
It's John Wick in the bathhouse. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's great. It's a great shot, but
It's a great scene. Like I said, I cannot complain because the scene is so fun and it's so well shot. And honestly, it feels like a scene out of Upgrade.
Yeah,
It's
it's just
like,
it's
yeah,
but I like the scene. I do like the scene in the movie because it also gives this because it is a monster movie, so it gives this
yeah.
nice breath of fresh air of okay, you are
It
watching
definitely
a
ups the level of dangerous he is.
well, it
Like,
shows I think he's pretty unstoppable. Like you can't really wrestle the guy to the ground.
yeah,
That's it shows how dangerous he is. That's what it's doing, but
yeah.
it's more than flashy. Because
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should have shown him doing a little CrossFit or Krav Maga to like give me the impression that he was such a badass. But
well, it's crazy. When we really get to see his face, like at the end of the movie,
yeah.
like where's they from? That's the brother with the drug addiction from Hill House.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, Luke. I was like, he looks
That's
so
funny.
familiar, but I couldn't place him in
A lot
any.
of they definitely kept the budget down by like Elizabeth Moss and to a lesser extent Sterling Hodge, but being the only like her sister is played by kind of like a TV actress. It's
Yeah,
not like a huge star or anything, you
yeah.
know.
There's no.
And same thing with the guy. It's like, well, he's going to be invisible most of the time. We don't really need to spend a ton of money on a name actor
I
here.
yeah, and I even think which again is an odd because read some of the trivia, and I think they said they actually did as many non CGI effects that they could use. So he's some of the thing, even the green scene CGI was more of just here's a guy in a green suit to do the activity, and then we'll just edit him out, which I guess
Yeah.
is unique to just whatever else they're gonna do. All right. But yeah, uh, the hallway scene fucking rules. Definitely not out of this movie. Couldn't you see I didn't go back and watch the trailer of this movie. You could see them just showing that in the trailers and be like the
Oh yeah.
Invisible Man, and people are gonna see the movie and be like, "What
I
the fuck
guarantee
was
you some
that?"
of that's in the trailer for sure. But also the scene that follows where they're out in the rain in the parking lot is also very good. Like a lot of
Oh
good
my
tension,
god!
a lot of good cat and mouse stuff there.
I this scene in the rain when she's running away,
Hmm.
and even just the interaction, people running up to "What do you help?" and then just die, and then just getting fucked up is so
Yeah.
it's another jarring spot where you're the good thing with this movie and Ascension, she's never escaped.
He's always been with her the whole time, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, dude. So she gets that right. The rain, he's fucking people up, and she runs to he. Doesn't he imply
He implies he's gonna go get the
get
family.
get
He's like,
Sydney?
I'm gonna hurt you by hurting people close to you.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
the only people close to her is her
Yeah,
friend
her
and his
friend and
daughter.
his daughter. So yeah, he's going. So
And
and then
he's
now
like,
we
I'm gonna
see,
kill the kid.
yeah, and we cut to the house, and yeah, he attacks, beats the absolute like. This is the thing where when they reveal here that it's the brother, I'm like, okay, so the brother beat the shit out of the cop then because he takes an absolute pasting from the Invisible Man. Who, if it's supposed to be the Invisible Man who established that we've seen through the movie, makes sense. But when it's revealed to be the brother, doesn't make as much sense again.
Well, okay, so the
I
brother.
mean, I guess there's no implication that the brother can't be a tough guy, but it just hasn't been that. I haven't gotten that impression, you know.
No, I think once again, yeah, I'm sure the brother. Remember, he's invisible. Maybe the suit has some sort of, you know, strength to it. I don't know.
Augmentation of some
Yeah,
kind, yeah.
I'm gonna keep calling it Black Panther technology, vibranium
Yeah,
technology.
sure.
Um, but
I can't imagine that you could punch somebody with that suit without breaking a bunch of the little lenses that make the invisibility shit work.
yeah, right. That's a good point.
Like I feel
But
like every time you hit somebody, that should make your
one
whole
lens
fist
break.
visible again. Like you know what I mean? Like all crackles and stuff.
Yeah. I remember TJ, the cameras on our iPhones. I remember TJ saying that's the number one thing that's going to crack on your phone because he fixed cameras.
Yeah.
They're delicate. Um, but I think with the brother, when he's beating him up. I also think it's a better tell though, because I was going to say it's silly. Like it's silly in the sense to go from the police getting the shit like almost to death. You'd imagine, right? From like
Yeah.
a punch or a snap to then James, the police officer, really getting pummeled, but like he does end up living.
Yeah.
Where I think Adrian would have killed him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Like I think Adrian would have. I mean, because he was so quick, why would he care?
Yeah, he
Or
definitely
how did I think?
executed a couple of cops.
Yeah. Um. So. Oh
But
my
yeah, I
god.
guess we jumped the gun, but anyway,
And I mean, I think that
she gets
that's
there and they shoot the Invisible Man and it ends up being the brother. And
yeah.
then the whole thing is that the supposedly Adrian has been like kidnapped and hidden, and the brother faked the suicide to get a control of his money. And then, I mean, obviously, this is the point where I was talking about earlier, where it's like, so it's all been revealed. The invisible suit was real, the conspiracy thing was real, and then when he's talking about it in the police station, she's like, no, he's in on it. He wouldn't. This is this. They still don't believe her. I'm like, can we not give her the benefit of the doubt at this point? She has been right the whole time. You have constantly been telling her she was wrong. Can we not just maybe like see our way to at least entertaining her idea rather than just immediately dismissing it?
Yeah, but it also at the same time, like it makes no sense. Like the timeline would also wouldn't be like, okay, so Adrian was there and you got there after him, like from when he like you could entertain the idea that there's two suits.
Yeah,
Like that should be that at that point should be clear as day,
it should
especially
not be unfeasible to be like there are two suits. Also, immediately you would imagine that like the cops would confiscate they would want to confiscate anything Adrian had, any suits, any of the
oh the
like
house should be
scoured. Yeah,
clean. So that would be in FBI tape.
yeah,
You know,
something.
I mean, not
But
FBI, that would be like like it would be almost a governmental case at that point, like a federal case.
and like I said, it's obviously for the plot of the movie. The movie needs no one to believe her so that she can take matters into her own hands.
But
She. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, say the even with all of that though, I think her real smoking gun too is like there's clearly video cameras somewhere in the police station or more in that hallway, and it just happens so quick where it's
Yeah,
like, look, I was sitting here and all of this happened.
yeah,
Like and we stopped him. Like, I don't know. It does bar the question.
yeah.
But you're right, there's a purpose of it all happening.
Right. Yeah, because they need her to have to go deal with it. She does agree to meet with Adrian. She has Sterling Hodge listening in on the conversation. She tries her best to get him to admit to it, but he won't. But he does because he's a narcissist and because he's a piece of shit. It kind of in the same way that Elon Musk does a Nazi salute, but then pretends that he wasn't. He has to deny it, but he can't just let it go. He has to let you know that it was him, and that's why he says that he says surprise,
Yeah.
and that's enough for her as far as she's concerned, and
She
for us. I say for us as the audience, that's enough too.
it's so layered on there because
Yeah.
he we're layered, and at the same time, like
Well,
I
because his
also
whole thing is gaslighting her and lying to
and
her,
I
so
think
like
the
we know
guy's
that that's what's happening.
and I think the guy is, for listeners, I'm using air quotes, smart enough where he's like, I know you came here wired up,
Yeah,
you know, like like she's not wrong, but yeah, surprise enough for her. She disappears for a
she goes and
second.
gets the statue. Also, this is another point that I just realized kind of reinforces the thing that it wasn't him in the house earlier when she was there. It was the brother.
Hmm.
Because if it had been him, he would probably know that she had stashed something in there.
And
Because
he
the
probably
invisible man kind of sees her coming out of there, and that's when the attack happens. So,
and
like,
what
had that been him, had that been Adrian who attacked her, he would probably have thought to look and see what she was
yeah,
doing in there.
and what we know about him is he would have followed her 5 inches, an inch away from her the whole time while she was there.
Whereas Tom
Regardless.
probably had the suit on and was just kind of like up against the wall, like watching her and trying to stay out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe just panicked and tried to grab her at the last minute or something.
I also want to give the movie this respect too of like it's great though. Like let's say that this scene, so the movie's 2 hours and 5 minutes, so 2 hours, right, with credits and everything. I'm sure, so it's 2 hours. It's great that this scene isn't happening at like an hour and a half, and like the real climax is she did that. She hid the suit, but she went to go find the suit, and it's not there.
And now we have a whole nother scene of Invisible Man shit.
And the actual ending is her killing him in the suit at the end of the movie, right? You could see that happening in like you get 2 fake out endings.
Yeah.
No, it's a great scene. She leaves. James, meets her at the front. James meets her. Is like, "You all right?" And like, because he's a little like, the slit throat. Also, I love how the slit throat also looks forced too, like the one in the restaurant.
It's obviously her, right? Like the whole thing is she goes, she gets the suit out of hiding, she comes and then like I love the way she makes the call when she knows she's on, because they've already established one of the first things they established in the movie is that she knows the security camera layout, she knows where they are, they know and where they look, and she like makes the call, but then steps out of frame to where he can see her so that he knows that she did it. Like, it's very,
it's great.
It's all very satisfying.
And she gets her last surprise to him too.
One of the better, like more subtle kind of revenge movies that we've gotten in a long time.
I think so. It's a revenge movie, even subtly. No, the movie's phenomenal. I even love her last interaction with James. It's my last note I had is like, he's asking her, you didn't come here to get a truth. Like he knows, but the actor that plays James, and I was like, wow, he's a good he's a really good actor himself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He has this look that I would imagine is hard to convey of, oh, my friend's capable of that. My friend's capable of murder. Yeah. Like he's not like, all right, he's like, he sees
through the whole movie, he's seen her as this kind of like delicate little flower that needed protection, and now he's like, "Oh shit, no, she's very dangerous, actually."
Yeah, like, and I think he's like, because of everything she's been through, he's like, "All right, yeah, no, he killed himself." There was one suit, like he's saying these words, but his acting is like, "I'm afraid of you. Like we're gonna get home, we're gonna do this, and I don't ever want to hear from you again."
Also, why do you got that Invisible Man suit? What are you gonna do with that?
I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe
I'm gonna commit some crimes. Is what I'm gonna do.
Listen. These Trumpers told me the price of eggs were gonna go down, so gotta steal them now.
Now I gotta steal egg. I gotta do egg heists. That's not where I thought you were going with that.
No. Just an
egg
innocent
heist
joke.
Is a much more wholesome thing than I thought was going to come.
Just a wholesome, innocent joke.
I don't know, good, because I wouldn't want to have to break us up like Tenacious D, because I can't have you making jokes.
I'd kill him.
I'd kill him. I would use it to kill him.
This fictional scenario.
I would have the Invisible Man suit, and I would use it to get close, and then I would kill. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Nah, dude,
this movie's amazing. Fucking masterpiece, honestly.
It really
better. Is. Like going back to it, I was like, damn, this movie's good. Holy shit.
I remember I watched it during
I always liked it, but I was like, this is a very good movie.
Once again, early lockdown movie. I remember being like, oh, it's good, not great. I remember just watching or whatever. Maybe it was all the hype at the time. Maybe it was just watching so much stuff because it's all we could do. Meaning it was just like the next thing on.
Yeah, you're just locked in. You're just like watching shit.
I remember going, oh, it's good. It's good. She's good. Nah, this rewatch. Now I've now watched it twice in the last like 3 weeks. 2 weeks really?
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. I'm so glad I bought the 4K on the Black Friday sale because it was like the only thing that I was like, yeah, it's $10, whatever.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Or something, right? 10 or 14. It was good. I'm so glad. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, I think hopefully people will rediscover Wolfman and give it a chance. But definitely, people should check out Upgrade. Upgrade is an incredible sci-fi kind of horror thriller. It's really good.
Very good. No, I'm really happy we covered this.
As am I.
Anyway, I won't keep anyone much longer. I feel like we covered it all.
We covered this movie and many other topics, really.
Yeah, this was a full encompassing film. See what happens when you're healthy and in a good mood to talk. People, you want to keep talking. All right. You know where to find us. We're on Liberal Truth Social.
Yeah, Blue Sky, Blue MAGA Sky, more like it.
It's getting there a little bit, yeah. Not really.
No, Blue Sky's actually nice. It's not bad.
Nice. It's nice. We're still floating on Twitter a little bit.
Yeah, I'll still be there. You can find me there too.
You can find us. And you can find us on YouTube and all the channels. And you've been listening. And stay frightful, everyone.
Welcome to Flyover State of Fear.